understand our responsibilities and obligations. And we believe that we ourselves have to make greater efforts to ensure that we bring about change so that this problem that we are confronted with should be resolved as much as possible and as quickly as possible. There seems to be an impression as if political parties are not accountable to anybody. And today I want to disabuse the public mind and through you inform the public that that's not a fair appreciation of our responsibilities and accountability. For example, as you know, political parties are not corporations, they are not companies, they are not trusts, they are not registered societies. Political parties are voluntary. A political party is a voluntary association of persons. Right? So it has no entity of its own. And in order to fight elections, we have to register ourselves under Section 29A of the Representation of People's Act as a political party. It's a voluntary association of persons. People can opt out. People can come in. And as long as you adhere to the ideology of the political party, whichever it may be, you can be a member, subject to their taking you in. Nobody can force anybody to be a member of a political party. And if somebody goes out of a political party, nobody can force anybody. It's not an appointment by an authority. Political parties and politicians are not appointed by anybody. Right? That's the basic difference between an authority which has powers to do things and a voluntary organization like a political party which itself has no powers. We ultimately go to the people through an election process and we get elected, we don't get appointed. Unlike government servants, unlike persons in a corporation, unless people in a trust, unlike members of a society. Okay, there's a basic difference of concept. So we are registered under Section 29A, and we can, under the Representation of People's Act, under 29(d), receive donations. Okay? And we have to declare whatever donations we receive to the Election Commission under 29(c). So it's not as if we take money and we don't report to anybody. There seems to be the impression as if nobody knows what happens within a political party. So we actually report all the donations to the Election Commission. We also make a declaration of assets and liabilities to the Election Commission under Section 75(a). So we inform the Election Commission of donations, we declare our assets and liabilities to the Election Commission, and the political party as well as individuals have to give an account of expenses to the Election Commission. Right? And you know Section 77 of the Representation of People's Act requires an individual aspirant to an election to declare his account. We have to lodge that account with the district election officer under Section 78, and we are penalized. If there is a false account, we can be penalized under Section 125A. All this is provided under the Representation of People's Act. So there is complete transparency in terms of our donations and our assets and liabilities. Then, Other than that, under Section 13 capital A of the Income Tax Act, even though political parties are exempt, we have still to file returns to the Income Tax Department. And there is a Form 24 capital A prescribed under Section 29C of the Representation of People's Act, read with Rule 85 capital B, and I'll give you this in the form of a press brief so that you don't have to take detailed notes on it. Any donation received by a political party beyond 20,000 rupees has to be declared to the Income Tax Department. So we make declarations to the Election Commission, we make declarations to the Income Tax Department, and under Section 138 of the Income Tax Act, the Income Tax Department and the Commissioner of Income Tax can make it public if it so thinks. If he so thinks, if it's in public interest, he can make that donation public. That also is provided in the Income Tax Act also. So the point that I'm making is that it is not as if the political parties in this country operate under a veil of secrecy, which seems to be the impression that if the order of the information of the CIC is taken away, as if the political parties operate in a veil of secrecy. It's not true. And this information should be made known to the public through you. Now, the problem is the following, that the information commissioners have held that we are an authority under Section 2H of the Right to Information Act. Right? Now, and the basis of that is that because we get substantially funded, this is ultimately the decision, that because we get substantially funded, we are an authority under the Income Tax Act. Public authority means any authority or body or institution of self-government established or constituted. And 2I says non-government organizations substantially financed directly or indirectly by funds provided by the appropriate government. And therefore he holds us to be an authority on the interpretation that we perform public functions. Right? Now public functions, as you know, is not the test for an authority. You have to be an authority performing public functions before you declare us. And therefore I have tried to explain that we are not authorities in any sense of the word, because we are political parties which are voluntary organizations. So the premise of the judgment according to all political parties is flawed. Now, if this logic were to extend it, and let's for a moment say that the logic of the Commission is right, what will happen? I mean, just take an example. You give land, they say political parties get land, but industries get land. There are many schemes of the government of India and of state governments where industries sometimes get free land or sometimes at institutional rates. And there are all kinds of tax concessions given, which the Commission says we get a tax exemption. There are lots of tax exemptions and tax holidays given. That means businesses are all public authorities. Farmers in this country don't pay taxes. They're exempted from tax. The public, they get free electricity in many a time. Or they get electricity at reduced rates, so become public authorities. Export-oriented units, all kinds of tax exemptions, duty drawbacks. So they become public authorities. Super speciality hospitals, schools, they get land on institutional rates. They get many other concessions. They become public authorities. I think while we respect the Commission, we also are somewhat concerned that if this were done, it will actually strike at the root of the political system. Because tomorrow somebody will ask, why did you declare him as a candidate? This is not limited to finances. Why did you declare him as a candidate? What discussions took place within the core group? Or what discussions took place in the national executive? Because you are then, because as an authority under 2H, the public is entitled to know everything. Who said what? Right? And why did you agree to this candidate? Why not to that candidate? And what was in your manifesto? Why were you not able to deliver to the people? What is the discussion that took place on it? Why are you taking this decision today? Why didn't you take it yesterday? Tell us what happened yesterday. I mean, is this the purpose of and that will be the consequence of the Commission's order. And I'm afraid, nowhere in the world does this happen. Having said that, and I repeat what I said earlier, that does not mean that more needs to be done to ensure that there is greater transparency in the functioning of the political system. And well, we are in dialogue with the Election Commission. The Election Commission is in dialogue with us, and we are willing to have a dialogue with all authorities to ensure that, all political parties. So I think that this kind of media coverage which suggests that look as if political parties are outside any kind of scrutiny is remiss. I mean, it's. I have already explained to you the extent of transparency there is, but of course more needs to be done. So having said that, I think that we need to move forward and we need to ensure. The reason why we need to actually bring a law very quickly is because unless we bring a law, it's going to be difficult for us not to comply with the order, because the order is operative. And anybody who asks for information today, as long as the order is operative, will have to give. So I think there is an element of urgency while we have not decided on, political parties have not decided, but political parties by and large, I think there is an element of unanimity there that we need to resolve this issue as quickly as possible. While we may actually move the Supreme Court even for a review, we may also think in terms of bringing appropriate legislation to deal with this issue. Thank you. हमारी रणनीति है कि एक तो हम रिव्यू पिटिशन याचिका डाल सकते हैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट में कि वो अपना रिट पिटिशन डाल सकते हैं कोर्ट में कि वो इस फैसले को रद्द करें, लेकिन आपको मालूम है कि रिट पिटिशन डालने में वक्त लगता है, कोर्ट को फैसला करने में भी वक्त लगता है, और इस बीच जो आदेश कमीशन का है उसका हमें पालन करना पड़ेगा. So we can actually move the High Court for under a writ petition, but since that will take time, we are also thinking in terms of a legislative resolution to this issue, and all political parties. Sorry?
As an amendment to the RTI Act?
Yes.
Or a separate?
Yes. We have cleared it in the cabinet yesterday.
What is the exact amendment?
There are two amendments. The first amendment deals with the fact that it is not an authority. Political parties are not an authority under section 2 of the Act. And number two, we have to ensure that the judgment of the Commission doesn't apply to us if there is a particular provision which says, notwithstanding any judgment of any Commission, such and such, this political parties shall always be deemed to not have been authorities under the Act, so that we dilute the effect of the judgment and at the same time amend 2H to ensure that political parties are not considered to be authorities under the Act. So that has been passed cleared by the cabinet, and all political parties are at one on this issue.